Hello everybody, and welcome to the first ever episode of K-Max Linux Show. Today we got about 5 news topics. It wasn't much of a busy week for Linux, or generally a week. So let's get right into it. Our first article is coming from TheVerge.com. It's saying that Ubuntu is now available for download on the Windows Store. I remember, and you guys probably have heard something about this a month ago about where Windows was adding these basically like Linux containers to Windows so you could run them on Windows Server and even the regular version of Windows. So the article says, Microsoft announced at its Build 2017 developer conference earlier this year that Ubuntu would be heading to the Windows Store. And now the popular Linux distro is available to download. Ubuntu, like SUSE and Fedora, the other two forthcoming Linux distros heading to the store, runs in a sandbox alongside Windows 10 and offers the regular command line utilities as a standalone installation, with shared access to files and hardware with Windows 10. In order to install Ubuntu, users will navigate to the control panel, not the newer Windows 10 setting app, and select the Turn on Windows features on or off menu. There you'll be able to select the Windows subsystem for Linux, which will allow Ubuntu to work following a reboot. This is actually a pretty interesting article. I think the best thing about this is that it shares the hardware. If you make a virtual machine, you can't share the GPU. Well, you can't have an entire dedicated GPU. Whereas you're doing this, you could basically play Linux games, I guess, if you want I don't think it's graphical, so you could play command line games or do other Linux programs that are GPU intensive or stuff that requires its own device hardware. Actually, I just realized something. The Wi-Fi card. That seems like a pretty interesting thing, because typically on virtual machines running in Windows, you can't share the Wi-Fi card. You have to run through a Ethernet connection supplied by VirtualBox or VMware. Okay, let's go on to our next topic. Okay, this article is from FlossBytes.com, and it's titled, Linux Laptop Surveys Reveal the Most Popular Linux Laptop Brands, Distros, and Other Details. It's 2017 now, and the adoption of Linux-powered devices is far better than it was a few years ago, probably due to improvements in the hardware compatibility and interest shown by big boys, removing the Windows filter from their eyes. Still, there is a long road to go. Linux computers still face issues, and they're not yet to stand in front of Windows dominance. A Linux laptop survey was conducted by Foronix, I believe that's pronounced, which welcomes people to answer a bunch of questions about what different things they put first while buying a laptop. Or does it matter if their machine came preloaded with some Linux distribution? The survey received more than 30,000 responses in a time span of only 2 weeks, which could be taken as a considerable figure to make a conclusion about the general choice of the people. What does the Linux survey reveal? Things Linux users consider while buying a new laptop. While buying a new laptop, the thing which was the most important on the build quality was the build quality. 30%, followed by performance, 25%, and so on. And there's a nice graph right here. Apparently, a good-looking laptop with premium materials is more tempting than the one having all the goodies under the hood. That's because most of the computer users do casual stuff on a daily basis and might not need a power beast just to browse the web, which is the primary task done by most of the people, 82.5%. Stuff Linux users usually do on their laptop. What are your primary tasks? You have web browsing, office work, software development, multimedia, gaming, schoolwork, photography. All pretty common things. Web browsing is followed by office work at 47%, software development at 73%, etc. Even now, gaming isn't even part of the lives of most Linux users, which maxes out at 21%. Is the laptop preloaded with Linux? For the question whether the most recent laptop came with Linux preloaded, the answer from almost 90% of the participants was a no. This shows that PC makers still desperate for Windows. PC makers still Although we have started to see machines like Dell XPS and Aspiron running Linux out of the box, increased participation from popular hardware would definitely take Linux-powered computers to the place where they deserve in the market. Was your mom what? Oh my God! What was the most recent laptop purchase preloaded with Linux? 89% says yes, but 10% says no. Do Linux users often dual boot their laptops? Dual booting is a thing most of us have tried at least once in our lives, including me. Well, surely, putting virtual machines up is a lot easier, but it's hard to get the same performance as what you get on bare metal. Here's the graph. According to the survey, most of Linux users, 62%, don't prefer to dual boot their system because it sucks sometimes. On the other hand, about 30% Linux users prefer dual booting with Windows than any other operating system. What's the most popular Linux distribution? Seems pretty, it's Ubuntu, and it could be called the face of Linux-based operating systems because it's the first distro most people adopt to when they switch to Linux. We can't deny that there are other great Linux distros, but Ubuntu tops this survey with 38% participants voting in its favor. Arch Linux takes the second place with 27%, followed by Debian at 15%, and Fedora on 14%. Well, I guess that makes sense. Arch Linux for the more advanced users, and Ubuntu for more the beginner users. It's equaling out. Most popular laptop brand for Linux users. So we have Lenovo at the top, which is actually pretty interesting. I'm not sure why that is. And Apple? Okay. Well, sorry Dell. Linus Torvalds might be a fan of your XPS Dev Edition, but the Linux people's choice for the laptop brands is Lenovo. The second place is bagged by Dell, and the third by Asus. System 76. Well, obviously that would be on the list because they're like one of the few laptop producers that only make Linux laptops, and I actually got one over there, which is focused. Oh yeah, exactly what I just said. Preferred screen size and GPU. It isn't surprising to see the 15.6-inch laptops are the most favored. They're appropriate, not too big, not too small size. Makes them perfect screen size for the daily use. With 30% share in the survey, it appears that the adoption of 12 and 13-inch laptops are also on the rise. As far as the GPU is concerned, most Linux users prefer to have integrated Intel chips. This could be possibly due to the driver compatibility offered for Linux-based operating systems. For graphics chips, 64 users would go for Intel, followed by NVIDIA at 26%. Dual graphics preference is the least of the importance for Linux users. What is the most painful thing about Linux laptops? Clearly, incompatibility display hardware has been a real problem in Linux users' ass, not to mention the proprietary drivers. Even the Linux Wi-Fi hardware sucks sometimes. Then there are problems related to touchpads, again within unattended territory, and UEFI BIOS firmware, which prevents people from ditching Windows. What should be the price of Linux laptops? Most of the users, 40%, say a Linux laptop should cost less than $800, while a considerable percentage can afford a laptop worth $1,600 or even higher. Moreover, more than half, 55%, of the participants want their Linux machine to be cheaper than a Windows counterpart, while 30% can buy it at the same price. Some people are willing to pay more than the Windows price if they get proper Linux support and compatibility. Okay. And for this story, this is actually a pretty interesting one. It's Mageia 6, the Linux distribution, is now available. like the newest one. Okay, so we could read this. If you're dissatisfied with Windows 10, there's no shortage of Windows-based operating systems to install as an alternative. In fact, some people, including yours truly, think that there are too many distros, but I digress. While Ubuntu is always a fine choice, it is not the only game in town. If you are interested in becoming a Linux desktop user, you shouldn't be scared of exploring different options. Fairly popular operating system with in Linux users is that it doesn't get enough attention. In Mageia. I'm not sure how to pronounce this. I think it's Mageia. After a long time, the newest version of the community-driven distro is finally here. Mageia 6 can be had today with your favorite choice of several excellent desktop environments: GNOME, KDE, Plasma, XFCE, Cinnamon, Mate, LXQT. It comes with a fairly modern version of the Linux kernel, 4.9.35, and LibreOffice. Since it's impossible to please anyone, there are two browsers included by default: Firefox and Chromium. The whole Mageia community is extremely happy to announce the release of Mageia 6, the shiny result of our longest release cycle so far. It comes with many new and exciting features, a range of installation media, and the usability and stability that could be expected from any Mageia release. Though Mageia 6's development was much longer than anticipated, we took the time to polish it and ensure that it will be our greatest release so far. We thank our community for the patience, and also our packagers and QA team who provided extended support from Mageia 5 far beyond the initial schedule. Says, I don't know how to pronounce that name, I'm not even going to try. Mageia team. And this article is from linuxinsider.com. Fedora 26 powers up cloud server and workstation systems. The Fedora project this week announced the general availability of Fedora 26, the latest version of the fully open source Fedora operating system. Fedora Linux is the community version of Red Hat Enterprise Linux, or RHEL. Fedora 26 comprises a set of base packages that form the foundation of 3 distinct editions targeting different users. Fedora Atomic Host Edition is an operating system for running container-based workloads. Fedora Server Edition installs the Fedora OS on a hard drive. Fedora Workstation Edition is a user-friendly operating system for laptops and desktop computers suitable for a broad range of users, from hobbyists and students to professionals in corporate environments. All 3 editions share a common base and some common strengths. All of Fedora editions are released twice a year. The Fedora project is testing ground for innovations and new features. Some will be implemented in the upcoming release of RHEL, said Matthew Miller, Fedora project leader. Fedora is not directly involved in those productization decisions, he told Linux Insider. Fedora provides a look at many ideas and technologies and is a great place for Red Hat Enterprise Linux customers to get involved and provide feedback. The Fedora developers updated and improved the package powering of all 3 editions. They made numerous bug fixes and performance tweaks in Fedora 26 to provide an enhanced user experience across Fedora's use cases. These packages are including the following improvements: update compilers and languages including GNU, Compiler Collection 7, and Go 1.8. That's actually pretty interesting because on all distros I've used, you have to manually install Go. And Python 3.6, Ruby 2.4. DNF 2.0 is the latest versions of Fedora's next-gen package management system with improved backward compatibility with Yum. A new storage configuration screen for the Anaconda installation program, which enables bottom-up configuration from devices and partitions. And Fedora Media Writer updates that enables users to create bootable SD cards for ARM devices like the Raspberry Pi. The cloud tools are essential to users with a cloud presence, especially programmers, noted Roger L.K., president of Endpoint Technology Associates. It's essential for programmers interested in the writing of the hybrid cloud, which is arguably one of the more important developments in the industry at the moment, he told Linux Insider. Cloud, public, private, and hybrid is the key to the future of enterprise computing. Fedora 26 Atomic Host Makeover. Linux containers and container orchestration engines have been expanding in popularity. Fedora 26 Atomic Host offers a minimal footprint operating system tailored for running container-based workloads across environments, from bare metal to the cloud. Fedora 26 Atomic Host updates are delivered on roughly every 2 weeks, a schedule that lets users keep up with the pace for upstream innovation. Fedora 26 Atomic Host is available on EC2, images for stock, stack, Vagrant, and standard ISO images available on the website. A minimal Fedora Atomic container image also has made its debut with Fedora 26. Cloud hosting. The latest release brings new capabilities and features to Fedora 26 Atomic Host. Containerized Kubernetes are an alternative to built-in Kubernetes binaries, enabling users to run different versions of the container orchestration engine more easily. The latest version of RPM OS tree, which includes support for a direct RPM install, a reload command, and a cleanup command. The system containers, which provide a way of installing system infrastructure software like networking or Kubernetes. Fedora Atomic Host in a container, and updated versions of Docker, Atomic, and Cockpit for enhanced container building, system support, and workload monitoring. Containerizing Kubernetes is important for Fedora Atomic Host for two big reasons. According to the Fedora Project Miller, first, it lets us remove it from the base image, reducing the size of complexity here. There, he explained. Second, providing a container makes it easily to swap in different versions without disrupting the base or causing trouble for people who are not ready to change quite yet. Server-side services. Fedora 26 server provides a flexible multi-role platform for data center operations. It also allows users to customize this additional Fedora operating system fit their unique needs. New features for Fedora 26 include free IPA 4.5 and includes improved running of the security preferences and the SSD file caching to speed up the resolution and users of. For our final article today, it's from linuxtoday.com. What's new in Linux Mint 18.2 Cinnamon Edition? This is a little bit older of an article, but here's what it is. Linux Mint 18.2 Cinnamon Edition has been released and announced by the Linux Mint project. It includes the latest Cinnamon 3.4 as a desktop environment. Cinnamon 3.4 is the largest and most important part of Linux Mint 18.2 release. It includes loads of improvements and new features and bug fixes, both to the desktop itself and the Cinnamon Spices add-ons. That will be it for the news in Linux this week. See you guys next time.